Emma Hart was a down-to-earth person. She was 27 years old. Worked at a diner on the side of the road. Emma Hart worked 2 shifts every day as a waitress. She saved all her money and she never did anything that was not necessary. This is why it was so strange for Emma Hart to be driving through the Carpathian Mountains when there was a storm. Emma Hart's grandmother was very sick in a hospital, in a village that was 3 hours away. Emma Hart did not want to wait until the morning when the sun came out again. For Emma Hart, her family was the important thing always. The rain started as a sprinkle somewhere past Brushov. Then the rain got really bad by the time Emma got to the mountain pass. It was coming down hard that the road was like a river. The windshield wipers on her car were moving back and forth fast. They could not keep up with all the water. Emma held the steering wheel tight. Her hands were all tense and she leaned forward to try and see through the windshield. The rain was still pouring down. The road was still, like a river. Emma was getting really nervous. She was driving her car through the mountain pass. The rain was making it very hard for her to see the road. The sky got lit up by lightning. It was like a flash of electricity that cut across the sky. This made the road ahead of Emma visible for a short time. Then thunder came. It was so loud that it felt like it was going to make the Honda car shake to pieces from the inside. Emma's heart was beating fast in her chest. She thought that maybe she should have waited for a time to drive. Maybe being smart about things means knowing when it's time to stop and wait. The lightning and thunder made Emma think about her decision to drive the Honda in this weather. The thought had barely formed in her mind when her car tires lost their grip on the road. Her car started to spin fast towards the guardrail. Emma's scream got stuck in her throat as the metal of her car scraped against the metal of the guardrail. The guardrail bent under the force of the crash. Then there was nothing under her car wheels except empty space. The car was now in the air. Time really slowed down. Emma looked down. Saw the river. It was big and moving fast. The river was coming up to meet Emma. She thought about her grandmother who was waiting for her. Emma thought about the life she had made for herself. She thought about all the things she wanted to do that she would never get to do. Then the car went into the water. It hit the water so hard that it took Emma's breath away. The car hitting the water was very violent. Emma and the car were in the river now. It was cold. Really cold. The water was pouring into the car through the windows. This was happening fast that Emma could not even think. She was trying to find the seatbelt release. Her fingers were not working very well. The car was going down into the water. It was tilting forward. The river was pulling it along. Water was rising up to Emma's chest, her neck. Now it was almost up to her chin. The car was. Emma was getting really scared. The water was cold. It was everywhere. Emma was trying to get out of the car. It was not easy. The river was moving the car. The water was getting deeper. Emma was in trouble. She knew it. Emma's lungs felt like they were on fire. She got the seatbelt undone. Then she reached for the door handle. The water was too strong and she could not open the door. Emma started to feel really scared. The thought that she was going to die in this river by herself was terrifying. Emma had been too proud to stop and wait for the storm to pass. Now she was going to die because of it. Emma thought about how she had made a mistake by not waiting for the storm to be over. The river water was around her and Emma felt like she was running out of time. Her vision started to get really dark around the edges. Her lungs were begging for air. There was none. The cold was so bad. It was so dark. She just stopped trying to fight. Her body went totally limp as the cold and the dark surrounded her. Her vision was still getting darker. The cold was still closing in around her. Hands grabbed Emma. These hands were very strong and extremely cold. They were even colder than the water around her. The hands pulled her with a lot of force. It felt like the force was not from a human. They dragged her through the window. Emma's shoulder rubbed against the glass. She did not feel much pain. The hands were pulling her up through the water that was moving around. They were taking her up, to the surface. Emma was not sure if the surface was still there. Emma's head came out of the water and into the air. She took a breath, but it was hard because water was still in her throat. Emma was throwing up water. She was coughing at the same time. Those cold hands were pulling her out of the river and onto the ground. Someone was holding her on her side, helping her get all the water out of her body. Emma's body was getting rid of all the river water. She kept coughing and coughing until her throat hurt a lot. Her ribs hurt too. Then she could finally breathe easily without water going into her lungs. Emma could breathe again, and that felt really good. The river water was out of her body and she was lying on the muddy riverbank feeling a little better. Emma fell backwards into the mud. The rain poured down on her face. She was alive. Emma was actually alive, which was really amazing because it seemed like she should not be. The rain just kept coming down on Emma. She was alive. A voice came from above her. It was really smooth. Sounded fancy. The person talking had an accent that she did not know. The voice sounded like it was getting annoyed. The voice of this person was distinctly annoyed. I have spent 600 years trying to stay from this situation. This is the situation I have been trying to avoid for 600 years. I do not like the situation I'm in, and I have spent a very long time trying to stay away from this situation. Emma slowly opened her eyes. The man kneeling next to her was really something. He had a face that was very handsome. His features were sharp. His skin was pale, it looked like it was shining a little bit in the dark. His dark hair was stuck to his head because of the rain. What really caught her attention was his eyes. Emma thought the man's eyes were amazing. The man's eyes were a red color, they looked like hot coals in the stormy weather. The man's eyes were what made Emma stop breathing for a moment. What? Emma said in a rough voice. She could hardly speak. Who are you? She asked the person standing looking at Emma. Lucian Thorne. He got up. Looked at her. He was clearly very annoyed. Lucian Thorne said, "And you are now my problem." Emma said, "You saved me," with a lot of feeling. She wanted to sit up. Her body would not work with her. Every single muscle in her body felt really weak, like it was made of water. I am really upset about what happened. Lucian ran a hand through his hair. I am thinking that this was a mistake. Do you have any idea what you have done to me? What I have done to myself is also a problem. I almost died in that river. You are the one who pulled me out of the river. I want to say thank you to you for pulling me out of the river. The way you are acting about it is really mean. Something flashed across his face. It was surprise, I think. He did not seem used to people talking to him like he was a person. The man was clearly not accustomed to being spoken to without a lot of respect or a little bit of fear. Something about the way he looked made people want to be careful around him, to speak to him with reverence. He said, "Your gratitude is irrelevant." Then he held up his wrist. It was dark. It was raining. Emma could still see something on his wrist. It was glowing. The mark on his wrist was really intricate and pretty. It had a red light that was pulsing. He told Emma to look at your wrist. Emma lifted her left arm up. She had this mark on her wrist in the spot as his. The mark looked the same. It was giving off this glow, which felt warm on her cold skin. The crimson light was really something to see. Emma's mark was, like his, it was glowing with that same red color. What is this thing? She touched it with her hand. The mark started to pulse. She felt something weird. It was like there was a connection between her and the stranger, like a thread that she could not see was stretching between her and the stranger. Lucien said, "A blood debt," and his jaw got really tight. This is about magic that has been around for a very long time, even before people started writing things down. So when a vampire saves a human's life, that human is stuck with the vampire until they can pay them back. This is why a lot of vampires do not help humans when they are in trouble. The vampire thinks it is not worth it because helping a human can cause a lot of problems for the vampire. Lucien's kind usually just lets humans die when they see them in danger because helping them is too much trouble. Emma looked at him with an expression. "You are a vampire," she said. "I do not think I can believe that you are actually a vampire." He said to me, "You have to believe what you see with your eyes." Then he pointed to his eyes, which were glowing red, and to the mark on my wrist. "I got you out of a river when your car was still going down into the water. I moved faster than any person can. Now because of magic we are stuck together. That will not change until you help me and save my life because I saved yours first." This is crazy. Emma pushed herself up to a sitting position, trying to ignore the fact that her head was spinning around. Vampires are not real, she told herself. Magic is not real either. I must be seeing things because I did not get air, Emma thought to herself, trying to make sense of what was happening with the vampires and the magic. Lucien said to her, "If you are seeing things that are not really there, then you are doing this while you are sitting in the mud and it is raining." He held out his hand to her. "Come with me, we have to get you to a place before you get very sick from being out in the cold and the rain, and this situation gets even worse." Emma looked at the hand he was holding out to her. A part of Emma wanted to say no, she wanted to be strong and walk away from this tough spot that Emma was in. But Emma's body was shaking badly, her teeth were chattering so much that it was hard for Emma to think clearly. Emma took his hand because she really needed help. The man's skin was really cold. The way he held her was firm. He pulled the woman up to her feet without any trouble. Then he caught the woman when her knees gave way. The woman's knees buckled, so the man caught the woman to stop her from falling. He asked me if I could walk. His voice was not as angry as it was before. Now it sounded like he was actually worried about me. Emma said, "I can manage," and she made herself stand up straight. She really wanted to sit down because her body was very tired. Then she asked, "Where are we going?" "My home is a place that takes 20 minutes to walk to through the forest." He looked at her face closely. "The forest is not easy to walk through, so you will not make it to my home on your own. Do not waste the time we have pretending that you can do it by yourself, because you cannot make it to my home without help." Before Emma could say anything, he picked her up in his arms like she was a feather. Emma wanted to tell him to put her down, she wanted to say she could walk by herself. Her body would not listen to her. It just went soft. Rested against his chest. Emma felt like she could not do anything, so she just stayed there in his arms. "The mark on your wrist is like a limit for you. It does not let you go than 1 kilometer away from me," Lucien said as he started walking into the trees. "If you try to go beyond that, you will feel a lot of pain. It will be very bad, worse than anything you have felt before. I do not want to hear you crying out in pain, so it is better if you just stay close to me," Lucien said. "You are really bad at making people feel better when they are upset. I think you do a job of comforting people. Comforting people is just not something you're good at. You are terrible at comforting people. I am not trying to make you feel better. I am just telling you what is true." But his arms got a little tighter around her, so he was holding her closer. "What is your name?" "Emma Hart." "Emma Hart, you are really making things difficult for me. I have met a lot of people in the 600 years, but you are the most troublesome one." He looked at Emma Hart with those eyes of his, and it was impossible to tell what he was thinking. I hope Emma Hart is ready for what's going to happen now. Emma really wanted to ask what that meant. She wanted to know what was going on. Emma wanted to demand answers and explanations. Emma also wanted to find a way out of this situation. She was extremely tired. The tiredness was like a wave that was pulling her down. Emma's eyes were closing even though she was trying hard to stay awake. The last thing she felt before consciousness faded was the steady rhythm of Lucien's footsteps and the warm pulse of the mark on her wrist, connecting her to this impossible creature who had saved her life and now owned it. Emma woke up to sunlight coming through windows she did not know. She just lay there for a moment feeling confused. The Emma was trying to figure out where the Emma was and how the Emma got there. Then the Emma remembered everything. The Emma thought about the storm. The Emma thought about the river. The Emma thought about the man with eyes who said he was a vampire. She sat up fast, then she felt bad because her head started spinning around. She was in a bedroom and it was decorated with nice calm colors, lying in a bed that was so soft it felt like she was sleeping on a big fluffy cloud. Her wet clothes were. Someone had put soft pajamas on her, but they were way too big for her. Someone had cleaned her up. Put her to bed, which was really nice of them. The bedroom and the bed and everything was just so nice, the soft pajamas and the big bed. Someone had taken care of her. Emma looked down at her wrist. The mark was still there, it was still glowing, even when the sun was out. It had these cool patterns that seemed to move when she looked right at them. She touched the mark. She felt that weird feeling right away. The mark made her feel connected to Lucien. Lucien was somewhere, in the house, she just knew it, like the mark was pointing her in his direction. Emma could sense Lucien, it was like she had a sense that told her where Lucien was, and it was telling her that Lucien was close. There was a knock at the door. It made her jump really high. "Come in," she said, her voice was really rough. An older woman came into the room with a tray. The woman had kind eyes and her gray hair was tied back in a bun. She said, "Morning, Miss Hart. My name is Catherine. I take care of the house. Lord Thorne told me to bring you some breakfast and let you know that he wants to talk to you when you're ready to see him. Lord Thorne is waiting for you to finish your breakfast, then he will talk to you, Miss Hart. Catherine the housekeeper will be there to help you with anything you need." Lord Thorne. Emma took the tray from the person. "Is that what people actually call Lord Thorne?" Catherine smiled a little. "This is what people should call him," she said. "He does not like to make people use his proper title. The clothes you are wearing are being washed. I put some clothes in the wardrobe for you. You can take your time to get ready," Catherine said to him. "Your fresh clothes are waiting for you in the wardrobe." After Catherine left, Emma ate her food without thinking about it. Her mind was all over the place. She had to get in touch with her grandmother's hospital and let them know that she was okay. Emma really needed to think of a way to get out of this situation. What Emma needed most of all was to know what was going on. She found Lucien in a library that looked like it was out of a scary story. The room had bookshelves that went all the way from the floor to the ceiling, and the furniture was made of leather. There was a big fire burning in the fireplace, which seemed weird because it was a warm day outside. Lucien sat behind a big desk that was covered in books and he was reading them with a lot of focus. The library had a lot of books. Lucien was reading these books with intense concentration. He told her that she was awake. He looked up at her. She saw that his eyes were really red. He was looking at her. "How do you feel?" he asked the woman. He kept looking at her with those red eyes. Emma felt really confused and angry. She felt trapped too. She crossed her arms like that. Emma said, "You can take your pick of how I'm feeling. I am all of these things. I am confused, I am angry, I am trapped." The man said, "All responses." Then he closed the book that was in front of him. "Sit down," he told me. "We need to talk about the situation you're in and what is going on with it." "My situation?" Emma said as she sat down in the chair across from his desk. She looked at him. Asked, "You are talking about the situation where you used magic to kidnap me? I did not take you away from your home against your will. I helped you when you were in a lot of trouble, and that created a connection between us that we do not really want." His face did not show any emotion. "The idea that you owe me something because I saved your life is not something I made up. This is an old kind of magic that exists and it is not something I can control. The blood debt is what they call it. I am stuck with it just like you are stuck with it too. The blood debt is something that affects me much as it affects you. So we need to figure out how to break the thing. What is the best way to break it? We have to break the thing. How do we actually do that? The thing needs to be broken, so let us think about how to break the thing. Lucian pushed one of the books toward her. The pages in the book were filled with text that she could not understand, and there were pictures of marks that looked like the ones she had. Lucian said that is what he had been looking into. He told her that usually the debt is paid when the human helps save the vampire's life, so it is like they are even. The vampire gets a life saved. The human gets their debt paid, which is an equal exchange. Lucian had books about the debt and he was trying to figure it out. The debt is what Lucian and she were trying to understand. The books were helping them learn about the vampire debt. So I just need to save you from something. Then we will be free. We can do whatever the something is that we need to save you from, and then we are done. The something is what is holding us back. Once we deal with the something, we can move on. Yes, it sounds easy. It is really very hard to do. He leaned back in his chair. Vampires are very hard to kill, which makes them also very hard to save. Most humans die when they are old before they can even try to save a vampire. Vampires are just that hard to save. Emma felt her stomach sink. She said to him, "You are telling me that I could be stuck with you for the rest of my life. Unless we find a solution." Lucian got up. Walked over to the window. He said, "I have been looking at law and history for a very long time, 600 years to be exact. If there is a way out of this blood debt, I will find it. It is going to take some time. I have to look really hard to find a loophole or exception to the blood debt. The blood debt is a problem and I need time to figure it out. I do not have time for this. I have a job that I need to go to every day, a life that I have to live. My grandmother is in the hospital right now." Emma's voice got louder. "I just cannot pack up and disappear from everything. I have responsibilities, like my job and my grandmother who needs me. Catherine will make all the phone calls that are needed for you." Lucian turned around to look at her. "You have already vanished, so to speak. The thing is, your car is at the bottom of the river now. At this point your family probably thinks that you are dead. Catherine will take care of everything that needs to be done for you." The words really hurt Emma. It felt like someone had punched her. Her grandmother was very sick. She thought that Emma had died trying to get to her. Emma felt so guilty about this. The guilt was really getting to her. Emma could not stop thinking about what her grandmother thought about her, that Emma had died trying to reach her grandmother. "I really need to get in touch with them. It is very important that I let them know that I am alive. I have to talk to them and tell them that I am okay, that I am alive." "What are you going to say? That a vampire saved you? Now you are stuck with him?" Lucian did not sound mean. He was serious. "People will think you are really upset or that something is wrong with your mind. It is better to let Catherine take care of this quietly." Emma really wanted to argue with him. The thing is, he was making a lot of sense. The problem was, how was she going to tell anyone about what was happening? It was a weird situation. Emma was thinking about this. She did not know what to say to people. She thought about the situation with him. She knew it was hard to explain. Emma just did not know how to put it into words. She wanted to know something about him, so she asked, "How long have you been a vampire?" instead. This changed the subject they were talking about. "It has been 643 years. I was turned into a vampire during the Black Death." Lucian went back to his desk. "Most of my life, as a human, is forgotten now. I still remember the day I died. I remember choosing to be a vampire, of really being dead." "Do you regret what you did?" "Every day." He said this. It surprised him just like it surprised her. Immortality is something that people think they want. The thing about immortality is that it is really sad. You get to watch everyone you love die. You do not get to die with them. You just stay the same. That is a very lonely thing. It means you are alone, for a long time, and the only people you meet are people who are scared of you or people who want something from you. Is that the reason you live by yourself here? I like being by myself because it's better than being let down. He looked into her eyes. I have found that when you start to care about people, they can hurt you. So the fewer people I care about, like my friends and family, the fewer people can hurt me. That sounds like a sad way to live. It is a way to exist. The idea of a way to exist is very depressing. That sounds about right. The way he looked at her made it seem like he knew she was telling the truth. Something in his face said that what she said was practical, and he could not deny that it is practical. Over the 2 weeks, Emma fell into a routine that did not feel right. She spent her days helping Lucien research the blood debt. Emma read through old books and tried to find any mention of how to break the blood debt or make it weaker. Catherine made sure Emma had food and a comfortable place to stay. As time went by, Emma learned more about the people who lived in the household and how things worked. Emma found out more about the blood debt and the people around her, like Lucien and Catherine. Lucien got blood from people who wanted to give it to him. These people came to the estate one time every week. Emma never met them. Catherine told her that they got paid a lot of money and were never hurt. Lucien did not sleep in a coffin, he slept in a bed like everyone else. Lucien did not need to sleep much. When Lucien was in the sunlight, it did not kill him. It gave him very bad headaches. So Lucien kept the curtains closed during the day to stay away from the sunlight. Emma found out that he was really nice to be when he was not being grumpy. He had seen a lot of things happen in the world. He could tell her stories that made her laugh or surprised her. He played the piano well, and on quiet nights he would play music that filled the whole house. When Emma had bad dreams about drowning, he was always standing in her doorway asking her if she needed something. She told him one night, "You do not have to check on me." This was after she woke up with a start from a dream. In the dream she was drowning in water, it was filling her lungs. "The bond tells me when you are upset." Lucien leaned against the doorframe, his eyes shining softly in the dark. "I do not feel like sleeping when the bond tells me that you are having a time. The bond is very clear about your feelings. It is telling me that you are distressed, and that is why I am awake, because the bond is telling me that you need someone to talk to. I am fine. Just dreams. You almost lost your life, Emma. That is something that will stay with you for a time. It is only normal that you are still feeling the effects of what happened." He stopped for a moment. "Would you like to talk about what happened to you, Emma?" She was really close to saying no. There was something about the darkness and the way he was being so patient that made her want to tell the truth. "I keep thinking about what happened over again. The water was so cold. I thought for sure I was going to die all by myself. Then you showed up. Pulled me out of the water. I did not know what was going on at the time, the water and the cold, and thinking I was going to die, it was all so scary. Then you were there pulling me out, and I did not understand what was happening, the water and the cold, it is all still really scary to me. You were really brave. A lot of people would have freaked out. That would have made it impossible to save them. Many people would have panicked in that situation. You did not, and that is what made saving them possible, because you were brave. I did not feel brave all. The truth is, I felt really terrified. Bravery and terror are things that people often feel at the time." Lucien walked into the room. Sat down in the chair that was near her bed. He asked her if it would help her to feel better if he stayed with her until she fell asleep. Emma wanted to say no because she did not want to lose her independence. The truth was that having him around really did help her. The bond between Emma and him made Emma feel safer when he was near her. "Yes," she said. That would really help me out. The extra assistance would be a help. Getting some help would make things a lot easier, for me. I think help is what I need right now. He stayed there sitting quietly in the chair. She went back to sleep. The morning when she woke up he was not there, but someone had put a blanket over her that she did not have before. 3 weeks after the accident, Lucien found something in his research. He came across a scholar in Prague who specializes in ancient magical bonds, and this vampire scholar is a woman named Morgana. Lucien thinks that if anyone knows of an alternative to the resolution, it will be Morgana, the vampire scholar in Prague who knows about ancient magical bonds. We need to get in touch with her. Is it possible for us to contact her directly? Lucien looked at Emma. Said that the lady does not do consultations over the phone or computer. The lady only does consultations, in person. We would have to go to her place to see her. Lucien looked at Emma. This means we will have to spend hours in a car together to get to the lady and then come back home. Lucien asked Emma if she is willing to do that to see the lady. Emma thought about this. She had to spend hours with Lucien. That should have been really bad. Over the past few weeks Lucien had stopped feeling like the person holding her back. He started to feel like Lucien was on her side. Lucien was like someone who helped her. Maybe Lucien was a friend to her. So when are we actually going to leave? I want to know the time we are leaving. When do we leave for our trip? The evening they left and drove all night to get to Prague. The car that Lucien had was really comfortable. The music was playing softly. Emma started to feel really relaxed on the trip to Prague. She liked the way the music sounded in Lucien's car. Lucien said this as we were past the border. He wanted to know about my life before the accident. What was I doing alone driving through the mountains in such a bad storm, he asked. I thought about my life before the accident. Lucien was really curious about my life before the accident. Emma talked to him about her grandmother. She told him what it was like growing up poor. Emma had to work a lot of jobs just to get by. She wanted to have money so she could feel safe. Lucien listened to Emma without judging her. He asked Emma questions that showed he really cared about what Emma was saying. He said this to me after a time. You are like someone I know, he said. My sister Rosalie is a lot like you. Rosalie had the kind of determination that you have. She never gave up. She never accepted that something was impossible. Rosalie and you are similar, in that way. I want to know what happened to her. Did something bad happen to her? I am really curious to know what happened to her. She died in 1589. The people who hunt vampires burned down our family home with her inside. His hands got really tight on the steering wheel. I was not there when it happened. By the time I got back, our family home was nothing but ashes. The vampire hunters took everything from us, our family estate, our home, everything. I am so sorry. It was a time ago. The pain in his voice suggested that time had not healed that wound. The pain, from that time, still hurt him. The wound was still sore. Time had not made the pain of that wound go away. Prague was beautiful when the sun came up. Morgana had a nice place to live in the city. It was an apartment on the top floor of a building and it looked out over the river. Morgana was an old woman, even older than Lucien. Her hair was silver. Her eyes had seen a lot of things. She had been around for a time and it showed in her eyes. The river apartment was Morgana's home. Lucien Thorne. She smiled when she opened the door. That was a moment, for her. 600 years of avoiding blood debts and you finally stumbled into one, she said with a grin. That is really funny. I mean, it is ironic that this happened to Lucien Thorne. 600 years. Now Lucien Thorne has a blood debt to deal with. How funny that Lucien Thorne finally stumbled into one. I do not want to talk about things that are not important, Morgana. I need to know what you think about this because you are very good at figuring things out. Morgana and Lucien sat in Morgana's living room. It was a nice room. Lucien showed Morgana his research. Morgana looked at the texts carefully. As she did this, Morgana's face got more and more thoughtful. Lucien was showing Morgana all the things he had found out. Morgana was very interested in Lucien's research. She said this after a while. "We have seen the bond get weaker before," she said. "We have never seen it completely broken. This magic has been around for a long time. It is a part of things. The magic is really old and really important." Emma asked what they meant by weakening. She wanted to know what weakening really meant. Emma was confused about the idea of weakening. The bond is strong because of resistance. When you fight the bond, it gets even stronger. Holds you tighter. Morgana looked at them. If both of you just accepted the bond and stopped thinking of it as a trap, you would feel less forced to be. You would still be connected, the bond would still be there. You would have the freedom to decide how close you want to be to each other. Accept it? Lucien shook his head. "We are people who do not know each other, and magic is what brought the people together. I mean, the magic is what brought us together, the people, that is, us, Lucien and the other person, who are strangers." Morgana looked at him. It was like she already knew the answer. "Tell me, Lucien, you have been around for 600 years, so how times have you actually saved a human life, Lucien?" "I have never been in a situation like that. I am always careful. I make sure to avoid things like that. The thing is, I just do not want to be in a situation like that, so I always try to stay from it. I have always been careful to avoid situations." She said it like this: "Vampires really look out for themselves. We do not get into trouble with blood debts by mistake." She leaned forward. "So why did you help this human? What made you jump into the river when you should have just walked away? You are a vampire, and vampires do what is best for vampires, so why did you save this human?" Lucien did not know what to say. He just had no answer. Lucien was completely silent because Lucien had no answer. The drive back to Romania was really quiet. Emma could feel Lucien's turmoil through the bond. She could sense that Lucien was wrestling with some questions that he did not want to think about. The bond between Emma and Lucien was strong. Emma could tell that Lucien was struggling with these questions. "Why did you save me?" She asked this question after a time when she finally spoke up and the quietness was over. "I do not know." His voice sounded really rough. "I saw your car go into the river and something inside of me just made me act. There was no thinking about it, no thinking if it was an idea or a bad idea. I just knew I could not let you die. I had to do something to help you. I had to try and save your life. I mean, I had to save you." I think Morgana might be right. It is possible that some part of you really wanted this connection with the person. Maybe you were looking for this kind of connection. It just happened. Morgana seems to think that you wanted this connection, and that is why it happened. I have been by myself for a long time, Emma. I made this life for me so I could stay away from people and not get close to anyone. I did this on purpose so I would not have to deal with connections and feelings and all that stuff. This life is mine. I built it to be alone, Emma." She said to him, "Or maybe you built it because you were afraid." She looked at him then. "You were afraid of losing someone the way you lost your family." Lucien was silent for a long moment. When he finally spoke, his voice was barely audible. "Perhaps you are right. The month after they went to Prague was really different." Emma and Lucien stopped trying to fight how they felt about each other. Started to figure out what it all meant. They would talk for hours in the evening, sharing things that had happened in their lives. Emma told Lucien about what it was like growing up with little money and how hard she had to be to get by when everything seemed to be against her. Lucien told Emma about the time when he was shared memories that he had not talked about with anyone for a very long time, hundreds of years. He told them one night as they sat by the fire that he was a scholar. The plague changed everything for him. Before that he spent his time studying philosophy and medicine because he really wanted to know how the world worked. He also wanted to heal people and make them feel better. He smiled. It was not a happy smile. He said that of helping people he became something that hurts them, something that feeds on them. You should never hurt the people who donate to you. Catherine said that you are very careful with your donors. She said you pay the donors an amount of money and you never take more money from the donors than they can afford to give. The donors are important to you. You make sure they are treated fairly. Catherine told me that you only take what the donors can spare from their money. That does not change what I am. I am still the person. My life is still the same. I am still doing the things. The thing that happened does not change who I am. I am who I am, and that is it. You are a person who has been trying for a long time, 600 years, to be better than you really need to be. Emma moved closer to him on the sofa. This is important, Lucien, because what you are is someone who has spent 600 years trying to be better than his nature requires, and that is what matters, Lucien. He looked at her. Saw that her red eyes were soft in the firelight. He asked her, when did you stop being afraid of him, of the person he was, of what he could do to her, of what he could be, to her, of the man that he was, of the things that he did? I do not think I was ever really scared. I was mixed up and really mad and frustrated. I was not scared. She touched the mark on her wrist. The bond between the person she is talking about and her would not have connected them if this person was really bad for her. On some level I think she knew this from the start. The bond has wisdom that we do not have, Lucien said. It only happens between people like the bond, between two souls that a good match, that need each other in ways that neither of the souls understands at this time. I think we need to understand each other. We need to know what the other person is looking for from us. What do you think we need from each other to make this work? We need to be honest with each other and talk about what we expect from each other. I believe you need someone who really gets how strong you are and does not try to make you feel bad about it. I need someone who still thinks I am a real person even with all the things I have done. He reached out. Touched her face, his fingers feeling really cold on her skin. I need you, Emma Hart. This actually scares me a lot more than anything I have dealt with in a very long time, 600 years to be exact. Emma leaned into his touch. I need you too. I am really tired of pretending that I do not need you. The kiss was going to happen. Lucien's lips were really cold when they touched Emma's. The bond between them made her feel warm inside. Emma felt Lucien's emotions mixed with her emotions. She felt his desire and his fear and his hope and something else that was hard to explain. Emma and Lucien were not ready to talk about this feeling yet. The bond between Emma and Lucien was strong. It was changing the way Emma and Lucien felt about each other. When Lucien and the woman finally pulled apart, Lucien rested his forehead against her forehead. Lucien said, "This complicates everything, with Lucien and her." Emma said that it makes things easier. We stop fighting what we feel. Emma thinks that we should accept that whatever brought us and Emma together knew what it was doing. You would really choose this? I mean, choose a life that is bound to a vampire? A life with a vampire is not like a life. You have to think about what it means to be with a vampire. I would definitely choose you, Lucien Thorne. The fact that you are a vampire is just not that important to me. I mean, being a vampire is a part of who you are and it does not really matter to me. I would still choose you, Lucien Thorne, no matter what. Over the few weeks, Lucien and Emma became really close. Lucien showed Emma about the world of vampires and he introduced her to the other vampires that he really trusted. Emma showed Lucien about her world and she brought some modern things like music and movies into his life. Lucien and Emma had a lot of fun together. Sometimes they disagreed about books. Times Lucien and Emma would fall asleep on the sofa with Emma snuggled up against Lucien's cold chest. The bond between Emma and Lucien changed. The need to be close to each other all the time was gone, just like Morgana said it would be. Now Emma just wanted to be with Lucien because she liked being around him. She could leave the estate if she wanted to, she could even walk for a long time without feeling any pain. Emma stayed at the estate because Lucien was there, with her. The hunters came after that. They were the hunters that we had been waiting for, the hunters that would change everything for the hunters. The hunters just showed up one day. Emma was in the library one evening when Catherine burst through the door. Her face was really pale because she was scared. Vampire hunters were at the library. There were at least 6 vampire hunters and they had a lot of weapons with them. Lucien showed up fast, moving so quickly that it was like nothing Emma had ever seen before. He said, "Take Emma to the room. Now." "No, Emma." She grabbed his arm. "I am not going to leave you to deal with them by yourself. They are coming for me, Emma. If you stay with me you will be in trouble too. I do not want anything bad to happen to you because of me, Emma. You should get out of here, Emma." She said to her, "If I stay here I will be in danger. I do not want to hide while you fight." She looked straight at Catherine. "Is there a way for us to contact vampires? Does Lucien have vampires who are his friends and can help vampires, like us? The people who can help us are hours away. We have a security system at our place. The security system will not keep out trained hunters for a long time." Catherine's hands were shaking as she pulled out her phone. "She will try to call someone to get some help from them, to get help from someone who can do something to protect us, to protect Catherine and the security system." The hunters smashed through the door a few minutes later. Emma heard the sound of glass breaking, wood cracking and men yelling at each other. Lucien stood between Emma and the door to the library, his whole body stiff and ready for something to happen. Lucien was completely focused on protecting Emma from the hunters. The hunters were making a lot of noise. Emma was really scared. Lucien did not move, he just kept watching the door to the library, waiting for the hunters to come in. The first hunter to come through the door was really big. He had a crossbow. It was loaded with a bolt that Emma thought was made of wood. Then 2 more hunters came in behind him. They also had crossbows. Looked very dangerous. The hunters were all armed with these crossbows, which made Emma feel scared. The crossbow that the first hunter was holding was especially intimidating. "Lucien Thorne." The hunter in charge said this in a cold voice. "Your family did a thing to mine a long time ago, 300 years ago. Now, Lucien Thorne, tonight I will finish what your family started against mine. Lucien Thorne, this is the end for you. Your family went after vampires who did not hurt anyone. They killed kids." Lucien's voice was really scary. "If my family killed yours, they were just trying to protect themselves from your family, the vampires." The hunter said, "Monsters do not get to claim self-defense." Then he raised his crossbow. Said, "This ends now." Everything happened at the time. The hunter fired his gun. Lucien moved fast, but he could not get out of the way of all 3 things that were coming at him. One of the bolts hit him in the shoulder. It made him spin around. Emma screamed loud and she ran to Lucien without thinking about what she was doing. She put herself between Lucien and the hunters, trying to protect Lucien from the hunters. "Stop now." She held out her arms to the sides, making herself a barrier. "You really want to kill a vampire? That is fine, by me. You will have to get past the vampire defender, which is me, before you can even think about touching the vampire." The lead hunter stopped, really confused by what she did. That was all the time Lucien needed. Even though he was hurt, he moved faster than Emma could even see. He took away the hunters' weapons and made them unable to move. He did it in a strong way. In a few moments all 3 of the hunters were on the ground. They were either not awake or hurting a lot. More hunters came into the room. Lucien was fighting hard. He was very fast and strong, and he had a lot of experience from fighting for a very long time. There were just too many hunters, and the bolt in Lucien's shoulder was making it hard for him to move. Emma was very scared as she watched two hunters grab Lucien and throw him to the ground. She did not think about what she was doing. She just grabbed a stake from one of the hunters who was lying on the ground and she drove it into the leg of the man who was holding Lucien down. The man let out a yell and he released his grip on Lucien. Lucien quickly got up. He threw off the men who were attacking him. Emma was now standing back to back, with Lucien as more hunters came towards them. Lucien said to me, "When I make a space you go." Lucien was breathing hard. Emma said, "Not a chance." She held on tight to the thing she was using to defend herself. She looked at the people around her. Said, "We are going to fight together or we are not going to fight at all." Something changed in that moment. Emma felt it through the bond between her and Lucien, a change like the earth moving under her feet. The mark on Emma's wrist got hot all of a sudden. It was so bright that it lit up the whole room. The mark on Lucien's wrist did the thing, and the light that connected the marks on Emma and Lucien was so strong it was hard to look at. The hunters stumbled back. They had to shield their eyes. This was a moment of confusion for the hunters. Catherine appeared at this moment with two vampires. These vampires were the ones that Lucien had called for help. The fight, with the hunters and the vampires, ended quickly after Catherine and the vampires appeared. The vampires helped to end the fight. The dust finally settled. Emma was sitting on the floor. Her body was shaking badly because of all the adrenaline. Lucien was kneeling next to her. His wound was already starting to get better. Emma looked at Lucien. Saw that he was going to be okay. The wound on Lucien was healing fast. He said to me, "You saved me." I could hear the wonder in his voice. "You jumped in the way of a crossbow bolt that was coming straight for me," he said, still sounding amazed. He kept talking about what I did, saying, "You put yourself between me and that crossbow bolt." Emma touched his face. "I was not going to let them kill you," she said. "Course I did what I had to do to save the man I care about. Did you really think I would just stand by and let them hurt you, let them take your life?" Lucien looked at his wrist. The mark on his wrist was changing. It was not red anymore. Now it was gold. Lucien said to Emma, "The debt." He wanted Emma to see this. So he said, "Emma, look." Her mark was changing too. The red light was turning into the gold color that was on Lucien's wrist. When they looked at it, the mark started to shine brightly, then they just disappeared, leaving behind some light golden scars that looked like really detailed tattoos. The golden scars were still on her skin, and the marks on Lucien's wrist were the same. They looked like they were made to match each other. Lucien said, "The blood debt." He took a breath. The blood debt is finally resolved. Emma felt the change away. She noticed that the feeling of Lucien being around her all the time was gone. The special connection between Emma and Lucien, it just disappeared. Now there was empty space and the scary thought that Emma could leave whenever she wanted. Emma could just walk away from Lucien. Never see him again. The thought of not seeing Lucien was really horrifying to Emma. "Emma." Lucien got up. Held out his hand. "The thing that tied you to him is gone now. You are free to do what you want, Emma." She looked at his hand that was stretched out to her, at his face that was beautiful and worried at the time. She looked at the man who had saved her life. Then she got to save his life too. This was the man she had gotten to know well and trust and love so much over the past few weeks that had been really tough. "The woman told me I was free to leave." She said this slowly. Did she mean I was free to stay with her? Hope came alive in his eyes. He said, "You would really stay with me? Even though there is nothing that keeps you here anymore?" Emma took Lucien's hand. Let him pull her to her feet. She said to Lucien, "The magic is gone. That does not matter to me. I do what I want because I want to. I do what I want because I love Lucien. Loving Lucien is more important to me than any magic. Lucien is the one I care about. I will stay with Lucien because I choose to, not because of any spell." Emma. His voice cracked when he said her name, Emma. He had been alone for a long time, 600 years. He went through many bad things, like wars and plagues.